Petr Yan became champion in 2020. I thought I had seen the highest level of mixed martial arts possible.
Right when you think he's hurt, you think those leg kicks are hurt, you think he's slowing down a little bit. He's not.
But after UFC 323, I realized I had only seen the first version of it.
This is an opportunity to prove to myself that I am still the top of this division.
Petr Yan grew up in Yekaterinburg, Russia, a place commonly known as the gateway to Siberia, and where people are wired differently, forged in a climate as unforgiving as their mindset. Don't believe it? This is Petr Yan's facial expression when he's happy after a win. This is his face when he's with his family. And this is his face when he's hurting people. Yet, some of his opponents genuinely believe they could get under his skin with trash talk and mental warfare. Spoiler alert, it never actually works. The cold-blooded Russian just stepped in and absolutely dismantled Merab Dvalishvili, a man who had every reason to feel confident at the pre-fight press conference, considering he had already beaten Yan once before.
You are better than this, bro. Stop making excuses, please. Tell me now. You're gonna make excuse when I repeat you again? Tell me now, please. More.
But the former dominant Georgian champion wasn't the first.
I can box too. I'm not scared, homie.
And he definitely won't be the last.
Let's see whose boxing is good. Who is the best boxer in this division?
Petr Yan proved us that there are levels to this shit. More levels than we even thought. And his opponents had to learn the hard way. When Urijah Faber called it a career in 2016, it felt like the perfect time to step away. There was nothing left for him to prove. A multiple-time UFC title challenger and former WEC featherweight champion with notable wins over MMA legends like Dominic Cruz and Jens Pulver, that resume speaks for itself. But when he decided to return to the cage after a 3-year layoff, he proved he could still compete with the best. He exceeded expectations by brutalizing Ricky Simón to a 46-second TKO victory, stopping a young prospect riding an 8-fight winning streak. Considering his star power, the California kid was a win or two away from another title shot, and the UFC matchmakers apparently thought pairing him with the young, hungry Petr Yan made perfect sense. The reality of the UFC is that they often feed older veterans to rising contenders so that the up-and-comer can build their name off that legend's reputation. They've always done this.
Why are we going from Simón to Yan? Why you should be fighting?
Yeah.
Like this. Explain to me why we're taking this fight.
Well, I had offers for other fights, guys ranked lower, guys that I feel like were maybe less dangerous. But I'm not in this sport to protect myself or pitter-pat around things. I mean, that's not why you get in the sport, and that's not why you go after title belts.
Unfortunately for Urijah, he wasn't fully aware that he was stepping in against arguably the UFC's future best boxer.
I know he's got some boxing pedigree. I've been boxing since I started fighting professionally. That was 2003. So that's 13 years. I can box too.
But during their fight, Urijah was dominated so thoroughly, the judges might as well have clocked out early. By the third round, it became clear that the Russian was in total control, and it became scary when he blasted the veteran back into retirement. After it was over, the American acknowledged that Petr Yan is one of the most dangerous fighters in the division.
He's very tough, but I feel like he's one of the most dangerous guys, period, in the division. I knew that going in, and that's kind of why I wanted to fight. Aside from the guys on my team.
What sets Yan apart from the rest is his precision and technique, something Faber felt and understood from the very first round. But by then, it was a point of no return. He knew he was in for a long night.
First round, I left the first round feeling like, okay, I'm faster than this guy, and I felt his power, and I wasn't worried about his power. The difference was it's not about power, and it's not about speed, it's about precision and technique, and he's really a master of striking.
Urijah Faber never fought again after this, but for Yan, a win over a legend skyrocketed his popularity, and suddenly, everyone realized the UFC's bantamweight division had a major problem. The Urijah Faber beatdown launched Petr Yan's career to a different level, and before anyone could blink, he was booked to fight for the vacant UFC bantamweight belt. But winning that title was far from a walk in the park. He was matched against the king of Rio himself, Jose Aldo, one of the greatest featherweight champions of all time, who had just recently moved down a weight class in his quest to become a 2-division champ. Up to that point, Aldo was the most well-rounded fighter Yan had ever faced. Crippling kicks, nasty body shots, and takedown defense that felt borderline impenetrable. When asked about Yan, the Brazilian admitted the Russian was a tough fighter, but assured everyone that he had studied him enough to know exactly how to approach the battle.
I know him. He spent some time in Brazil when I was doing my camp for Frankie Edgar. But, this is a different story. And, we're going to go in there and I know what I need to do. I've studied everything that I need to do. And we're going to go in there and fight for the belt.
And he did. The King of Rio went straight to his most lethal weapon, those signature liver shots. But Petr Yan knew exactly what Aldo was hunting for. He definitely had done his homework and came fully prepared with his own weaponry. After a few striking exchanges, Yan began countering Aldo's body attacks with heavy shot upstairs. By the 5th round, the Russian completely took over the show, raining down ruthless ground and pound until the referee finally stepped in to stop the torture.
Stop the fight. Stop the fight. You fuck. Stop the fight.
Stop it, you fuck.
Beating Urijah Faber was one thing, but brutalizing Jose Aldo was an achievement on a whole different level. The bantamweight division had a new champion, a boogeyman that your favorite fighter wanted nothing to do with.
Petr Yan, he becomes just the second Russian-born champion in UFC history. A very impressive showing against the legend Jose Aldo.
As for Aldo, the loss hit him so hard that he openly admitted he lost motivation for fighting afterwards.
Já vinha meio que cabisbaixo ali, já pensando, né, o que eu faria já pós-luta. Tinha essa missão de subir no octógono, fazer grande luta.
But for anyone who thought Aldo was finished, his next 3 fights proved otherwise, dominating new generation talents like Marlon Vera, Pedro Munoz, and Rob Font. Once again, he showed he was far from washed, and at the same time, made you question just how good Petr Yan truly is. Well, all logic suggested that the Russian would hold on to that belt for a long time. Destiny had other plans. The illegal knee against Sterling stripped him of the belt in what became one of the most controversial title changes in UFC history. Fortunately, later that same year, he was given a chance to claim the interim title in a bout against Cory Sandhagen. The American is known for firing kicks and punches from every angle, delivering one-shot highlight reel finishes on opponents. Marlon Moraes and Frankie Edgar are just 2 of the many who've tasted Cory's sniper precision knockout firsthand. When asked about Yan, Cory gave him credit for being defensively sharp and offensively dangerous, but he also insisted that he'd been preparing for exactly that, and he was ready for whatever came.
I think he does a really good job defending himself, and I definitely think that he's a very powerful offensive threat. We're prepared for that.
No matter how prepared the American felt, though, he was no match for Yan's superior striking. At one point, he nearly got finished, and later admitted he was lucky the fight didn't end right there. He even said it was the first time he'd been hit so hard that his legs betrayed him.
That was the first time that I had actually gotten rocked to the point where my body wasn't listening to me. My legs weren't listening to what my eyes were seeing. So I felt like I would see punches coming and my body just wouldn't get the fuck out of the way.
Sandhagen was brutally honest in the post-fight interview as well, acknowledging that the Russian was simply the better fighter that night.
I was a fighter, man. Oh man. You're a great fighter. He was better tonight, man. I have nothing else to say.
The Aldo loss was a setback for Yan, but dismantling Sandhagen the way he did proved once again that, for the time being, he was still the best bantamweight on the planet. At that point, nobody could have predicted that over the next 2 years, Petr Yan would go on a 3-fight losing streak. From being the boogeyman of the UFC's bantamweight division, the Russian suddenly found himself staring down the possibility of being cut from the organization.
It's okay, I'm a winner today. He lost, and like I said, he should take a lesson today, and he was calling me zero, and now you see what happens. So that's
2 of those losses against Aldo and Sugar Sean were razor-thin split decisions that many believe could have gone Yan's way. But opinions didn't matter. After falling short against Merab, the general belief was that the Petr Yan hype train had fully derailed. Fans and analysts alike assumed he was done. But Yan was hell-bent on proving everyone wrong, and he aimed to do it against Song Yadong on March 9th, 2024. The Chinese prodigy had been calling out Yan at every opportunity.
Peter, let's end the contract. Tomorrow I'm going back train. I know you want to fight in March. Okay, let's go in March.
His confidence was sky high, so high that he even challenged a Russian to stand toe-to-toe and find out whose boxing was better.
Let's see whose boxing is good, who is the best boxer in this division.
This was the fight where Petr would remind the world that he's one of the toughest competitors in the sport, with the heart of a lion. A month before the event, Yan suffered a groin muscle injury, and in the first round of the fight, he tore his ACL and meniscus, forcing him to completely adjust his strategy on the fly. Despite the injuries and the adversity, Yan pushed through and found a way to defeat the Chinese contender via unanimous decision. Petr was finally back on track, and we didn't know this at the time, but this fight right here was the beginning of his climb all the way back to the top of the division. The heavy-handed Russian needed to keep his momentum alive, so he accepted a matchup against former flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo. Since moving up to bantamweight, the Brazilian had been tearing through opponents, racking up 3 straight wins, and many believed he actually looked even better at 135 pounds. But then he was matched up against Petr Yan. This wasn't just a fight to climb the rankings, it was a battle to determine the next potential title challenger. For Deiveson, a win could have opened the door to becoming a 2-division UFC champion. For Yan, it was a chance to reclaim what was once his, the bantamweight crown. The fight began as a calculated technical exchange and slowly descended into controlled chaos. They played a violent chess match at close range, but the Russian had a slight edge in the exchanges. When the dust settled, victory was awarded to Petr Yan, and after securing another dominant unanimous decision win against Marcus McGee, the UFC matchmakers could no longer ignore Yan's heavy knock on the title door. So they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. When Petr Yan fought Merab for the first time, he helped set a UFC record, 49 takedowns attempts in a single bout. The Georgian displayed overwhelming dominance and left no room for a sequel. Or at least, that's what we all thought. The Russian clawed his way back into title contention and earned a rematch with Merab, this time with the bantamweight belt on the line. But there was a problem. Almost nobody believed Yan had a real chance, and here's why. Since their first encounter, the Georgian powerhouse had only gotten better. He won the title, defended it 3 times, and entered the rematch riding a 14-fight winning streak. He hadn't lost in 7 years.
And it's that wrestling base. I mean, his wrestling is so elite, and then with that cardio, and now the improvements in the striking, and then the submissions. It's like, who's gonna beat this guy?
The general narrative here was simple. Merab had gotten better since their first fights, and nobody, especially not Petr Yan, was stopping his takedowns. Merab just needed this 4th title defense before the end of the year to break some other records. That's it.
I don't think there's anything Petr Yan can do to stop Merab.
I think Merab will get it done. I love Petr Yan's style, but Merab's on a different level at the moment.
Merab.
I think
Merab's the guy. I feel like Merab now is on a Corral, so I'll go Merab.
Merab didn't hold back his feeling either. He made it clear that whenever he fights Yan, it's personal.
Only one guy, if I lost against him, the Petr Yan, I will kill myself, you know? Because this guy is not a good guy, you know? He's not humble.
Before their initial fight, things even got physical during the face-offs. And although Merab's hatred wasn't as intense this time around, the bad blood was still very much alive.
You are better than this, bro. Stop making excuse, please. No excuse. Tell me now. You're gonna make excuse when I repeat you again.
Most believed the Georgian would drown Yan with takedown attempts until the Russian simply broke, but things didn't go according to script. Yan stuffed the majority of Merab's takedown and dominated him in every department of the fight. He even scored more takedowns on Merab, while outstriking him nearly every round. By the end, Merab's face barely resembled his passport photo, and it was clear to everyone watching that the bantamweight division had crowned a new, undisputed king. Petr Yan. You can have both. You can be extremely high-level technical, and you can still be dominant under chaos. You can still be technical under pressure, and that is the highest level of MMA you can think of. Petr Yan is that. When it's prime Petr Yan, it's the highest level of MMA you will ever see. He tried to convince us that he had lost only because he wanted to be entertaining, but once a loud, energetic force who yelled and screamed at every opportunity, now quiet, soft-spoken, and acknowledging that he lost to the better man that night.
I tried to give all entertainment fight, good fight, and I lost today. He was better game today, and congratulations to him.
By beating Merab and reclaiming his title, Petr Yan has just thrown a live grenade into the bantamweight division. Suddenly, everything feels fresh again. New air, new stakes, new matchups. A trilogy between Yan and Merab now makes perfect sense. You could also book a rematch of one of the most controversial and entertaining scraps in bantamweight history between Yan and O'Malley, Or you could even book a Russia versus Russia super fight with Umar. The possibilities are endless, and honestly, I'm salivating just thinking about them right now. Khabib once said a fighter only gets one prime. Yan clearly disagreed, and then went out and proved it by climbing the bantamweight mountain all over again. But it begs the question, was Petr Yan really in his prime when he first won the belt, if he looks even better now?
And that mistake against Aldo seemed to have unraveled something to where he couldn't get back on track. He's losing multiple in a row. What is going on with this guy? But this year, he seems to have figured it out. He goes on this winning streak. He gets the title shot. That was as good of a performance as you'll ever see from a challenger in a title fight.
It feels like Yan has been fighting forever, like he's already creeping towards 40. But the truth is, he's only 32, with another 7-8 high-level years still in his gas tank. Whether he can replicate the dominance of his predecessor and put together his own 7-year unbeaten run, well, only time will tell.